Hey, good evening, everyone. In tonight's video, I want to go over a question that I get asked pretty often, and that is, how do I properly draw fibs? What is the proper way to do it? And, I don't want to take too long, but I want to just go over a couple small basics that in my time of trading with fibs, which has been a while now, I have found to be very consistent and one of the fundamental principles to doing them correctly. So the first thing is that when you're drawing your fibs, you want to start at absolute lows and go to absolute highs. So for example, let's say we're looking at this leg right here, right? Let's say that I'm looking at from here to here, right? There are some people who think that drawing from the opens and closes to the open of the low point here to the high point is a proper way. I do not find that to be the correct way. I like to pick from the absolute, the lowest point, and then go all the way up to that highest point right there, right? And again, if I'm doing it to the downside, I would do the exact same thing, right? So if I'm looking at a situation with a down market, let's just say I'm looking at this, I would pick from the absolute high and go to the absolute low of that point right there. Okay? That's the first thing. Okay. The second thing, which does take a little bit of practice, is how do I know where to start, right? And it relates to the first part, of course. And that really just boils down to looking at the higher high and higher low in an uptrend, or the lower low and lower highs in a downtrend. So what I mean by that is that the easiest way to do that is typically going to larger time frame charts. This is the easiest way to see it. So I've got a 1 week chart of Google. So each one of these candles here represents an entire week of action. Okay. So when you sort of condense these together, and most charting software will let you do this, what you'll see, let's see, we're looking at an uptrend here, is a series of lower lows and lower highs. So this is going back to 2011. So you can see higher high, higher low, right? Sort of a retest there. Then it goes up, then it comes down. And there's some small ones in there, right? And then there's a little bit of sideways action. But then you can see the trend starts to take off, right? Lower high, right? New high, boom. Lower high. New high, lower high. New high, lower high. Retest, comes down again, right? Sort of double bottoms there. Higher high, higher low, right? Boom, boom. So when you're looking at these sort of, and the best way I have found to do it is to literally draw them, right? If you don't have a software that lets you do this, which, like I said, almost all does. In fact, I'm using a site here called TradingView. It's free, right? So you can practice on the internet for free. If you don't, you can always print it out and do it with a pen, which is what I used to do a long time ago. And believe it or not, I still find that to be very effective and helpful. But you'll see here, when you practice doing that, that's exactly where you would draw a fib, right? So again, in that situation right here, from this low to that high, right? And that's basically what you're looking for, right? And again, if you're doing it all the way, right? Boom, boom, right? I would draw it again. There's that lower high, boom, right there, right? And that's where you want to pick the areas to draw fibs. Like I said, the easiest way to do it, in my opinion, is to look at a longer time frame chart, and then look at the peaks and valleys. Sometimes you need to scrunch it. So for example, let's just do it one more time. Let's go to the S&P, right? So look at the S&P. Now this is just but again, just take the pen and just go, okay, from lower, boom, boom, right? Higher high, higher low. Higher high, higher low, right? Now it gets tricky sometimes, right? But where there's a little bit there, but then it goes all the way here. There's a most significant move. And then there's a most significant retracement. Then another move, then another one, then another one, right? And then you just got to practice doing this. It may take you several hundred instances to get down. And after a while, it'll just become second nature. And that's how you draw fibs. So I'll start doing some videos on the settings that I have in my fibs, but I just wanted to start off with this basic video on how to draw fibs, where to draw them from, and where to look to start and end them. Hope that helps. If you guys have questions, leave your questions in the comments, and you guys take care.